and welcome to the FWC Kids Introductory Training, our Nursery Edition. I'm so excited that you're joining the FWC Kids team, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Please know that I've prayed over you as we're going through this process, and before we get any further along, let's go ahead and pray together. Lord Jesus, I thank you for technology that lets us communicate important things and ideas, even when we can't be in the same room. Lord, I pray your blessing over this time and over each person that is watching this video. Lord, equip them to serve you and to love you. In Jesus' name, amen. I realize that for most of us serving in the FWC Kids nursery area, we're in the midst of raising our families, or we're in the midst of the working years, and schedules can be very difficult to coordinate. So your initial training starts with this video. Once you've completed this video, you're going to send me your top 10 things that you want to remember as you go in to serve in the nursery. The reason I want you to write them down is because if you're like me, if it doesn't get written down on the magical list of things to do, it doesn't get done and it doesn't get remembered. So jot down a few thoughts. They do not have to be in great detail or in full sentences. By writing the thoughts down, it will help solidify in your brain what you're wanting to remember as the most important. You can turn your top 10 thoughts into me by typing them and attaching them in an email or a Facebook message. You can also handwrite them and hand them to me personally. By turning these notes in, I know that you're ready to take the next step in our training process. Before we delve into the nitty-gritty of what it means to work with the FWC Kids Nursery, let's take a moment to remind ourselves of why we do what we do. The purpose of Family Worship Center is to reach the lost in our community with the gospel of Jesus Christ and equip believers to be fully developing followers of Jesus Christ. That is a mouthful, but to boil it down in its most simple terms, FWC exists to tell others about Jesus and then help them to develop into the people God created them to be. Here's how that plays out in FWC Kids. Our mission is twofold. The first component of the mission is to reach the lost. We want to reach the lost children in our community. The most recent Barna research says that 43% of believers in America made the decision to do so before the age of 13. 64% made the decision before the age of 18. Past the age of 21, the percentage drops to 23%. This shows us exactly how important it is to teach our children and to reach them the younger they are in age, so they have a foundation of faith, so that when life gets difficult, they have that faith foundation to hold on to. Our mission at FWC Kids is to reach out to the children who attend FWC with the love of Jesus and with His truth. We show this love in the nursery by rocking, by reading stories, by feeding, by changing diapers. The goal in the nursery is to build a positive bond between the child and the Church of Jesus Christ by helping the child feel safe, loved, and happy. It may not seem like the most glamorous job in the world, but FWC Kids nursery volunteers have been given the awesome responsibility of being the very first ambassadors for Christ to a family with a new child, outside of the family unit, of course. That is an awesome responsibility. Our second mission is to the parents. By providing quality services and childcare for the children, we allow parents to receive the word of truth. Perhaps a guest comes, but they feel confident with who their children are with, so they're able to relax and receive a word from the Lord, which may result in salvation for the very first time. FWC Kids Ministry does not take the place of spiritual parenting, because the most important spiritual influence in the life of any child, be it positive or negative, is the parent. Our job is to support the parent and help equip the children alongside the parent. Imagine, if you will, the possibility. An unchurched family attends church at FWC because someone invited them. The child learns about Jesus and accepts Jesus. When the child goes home, they continue to beg mom and dad to take them back to church and to keep talking about what they learned about Jesus. This has happened. This is not just in imagination. These are true stories of people that we go to church with every day. Mom and dad bring the child back to church, and eventually, after continued exposure to the truth, mom and dad open their hearts to receive Jesus' good news of salvation for the first time. By your serving in the nursery, an entire family can be reached in the name of Jesus. I have goosebumps, seriously, just thinking and talking about it. This does happen. It has happened at our church, and I want to see it continue to happen, and I hope that makes you just as excited as it does me. I want to give you a brief overview of how the FWC Kids umbrella works. So under the big heading of FWC, we have the nursery area. Our nursery has an infant room, which is for ages 0 to 3. This room is used for ages 0 to 2 would be the twinkle room. This would be used for infants who are not crawling or walking yet, to get them separated from the bigger children. It's also used for sleeping children, nursing mothers, and it's a good calm down room as well. Our park room typically refers to our children that are walking and able to take care of themselves. And usually children will transition to the preschool at age 3, although there are special occasions where we might take a little longer to transition than others. In the middle, you can see FWC Kids, which meets on Sunday mornings. We have our preschool and our school age. The preschool meet in the garden room, and then the school age meet in the clubhouse area. On Wednesdays, we have our Awana program. Now, Awana, if you're aware of, you may have heard of them. They're a national program, but for our purposes under the FWC Kids Ministry umbrella, it does fit under that. So on Awana, you'll see we have different classes. It's not referred to as nursery on Wednesday nights. It's referred to as Puggles, because that is the name of the class that is offered through Awana. But Puggles would be nursery, Cubbies would be preschool, and then Sparks would be kindergarten through 2nd grade. Truth and Training would be 3rd through 6th grade. Over our nursery area, Sherry Weiss is our nursery coordinator. She is the one who puts together the schedule. She sends out the schedule, and if there are any problems with making arrangements, or sickness comes up, you're not able to serve on your day, you need to swap your day, etc., Sherry is the one to talk to, and she does a great job. She's been doing this job for at least 5 years, and she's been doing a really good job at it. As you serve in the nursery, you're sure to run across questions that aren't covered in this training, or questions just that you have, or observations. Sherry is a great person to talk to. If you have a question from a parent, or how to handle a situation with a parent, you're always welcome to talk to Sherry. What Sherry then does is she takes that question and she'll come to me with it, and we'll talk about it together if further discussion is needed. You're always welcome to come and talk to me as well, but Sherry's kind of the head point person for the nursery. We want to do our best to protect our children, and that means we want to know, who do we have working with our kids. So the first thing that we do that helps us get to know you a little bit better is an application form, and it looks like this. If you're watching this video, you probably have already filled out the application form and turned it in. It gives us an idea of where you're at in your spiritual journey with Jesus. It is not a requirement to work in the nursery for you to have them water baptized in the Holy Spirit. Although we encourage those things, that is not a requirement. So we do ask just because we want to know what your experience is and where you're at, if you have any questions and things that we can help you in as a person. The application goes into a file for you along with your background check, and it's just, like I said, a way to get the ball rolling and to get discussion started. The second step in the process is to do a background check. Once your background check has been run, you'll be notified once it has come back and it's been approved, as in there are no legal reasons why you are not able to serve and work with our children. If there is a question that you think might come up on the background check, it would always be best to bring that up beforehand and ask about it, so we can work through that together. There is no cost to you for doing the background check. All it is a cost of the few minutes that it takes to fill it out. The last thing that we ask you to do is to sign a commitment form. Now, this commitment form is for the FWC Kids volunteers, and what it does is it commits you to serve in this area of ministry for 1 year, 1 calendar year. Life situations change, health situations change, life circumstances change, and the Lord might have you work in the nursery for 4, 5, 6, maybe even 20 years, and then move you to working with preschoolers or working with the school age or working as a coordinator and not necessarily serving weekly as a volunteer. All of those are extremely important jobs, and we're all playing on the same team. So, but your commitment to your area is for 1 calendar year. At the end of that calendar year, or towards the end, we start to revisit and we start to say, we start to ask about the next year and if you're wanting to re-up your commitment, which is always encouraged for you to do. On the commitment form, you're going to find some expectations. I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm doing a job, I want to do a good job, but there are times where I'm not 100% sure what is expected of me. And if I don't know what's expected of me, it makes it extremely difficult to do my very best. So on the commitment form, you're going to see some expectations. And these are what we expect: that you serve every 3 to 6 weeks as scheduled. On the nursery schedule, it is about every 6 to 7 weeks that you're scheduled. There may be times where you're asked to swap dates or fill in. Sickness does happen with workers and with children, and so we try to be flexible. We are a team and we have to work together. If I'm unable to serve, I will notify the person over my area. For the nursery area, it would be notify Sherry, either by text. We also have a nursery group me, and that is a great place to just put out there, hey, I can't come today, I was in a car accident, or I woke up with the flu. Can somebody help me? And that goes out to everybody, to which somebody might see that before Sherry or myself see it, and they're like, oh sure, I can take care of that, no problem. The second thing, typically when we do the schedule, we will send out a paper schedule attachment, and then the following week we will send out emails, and you'll receive an email reminder. You'll also receive a reminder via GroupMe. If you see ahead of time on your paper schedule that you get via email with the attachment, and you see, ooh, you know what, they have me scheduled for February the 3rd, for example, and you say, I cannot work on February the 3rd because I know I'll be out of town. No big deal, it's a work in progress. Let Sherry know. Sherry will make the necessary changes, rearrange on the schedule as need be, and then we resend it and we go from there. It's always better to have more notice on things. It's really not a big deal to have to change things as long as we have enough notice. If we wake up on a Sunday morning and it's 10 minutes before we're supposed to be there, that makes it a lot more difficult for you, for the parents, for the children, for everyone involved. So the more notice that you can give, the better. We expect that you're going to make FWC your church home, and we're going to see you on a consistent basis. That doesn't mean we're taking attendance, but it does mean if we start to see, you know, I only see this person when they're serving in the nursery, that says that something might be going on. Is there sickness? Is there work issues? what's going on that we might need to take care of or we might need to help with. We want to help. Yes, we want to minister to the children, but we want to make sure that those that we're serving with are taken care of, because we are a family at Family Worship Center. So regular church attendance. You cannot pour into other people what the Lord hasn't poured into you. So on your opportunities where you are not serving, take advantage of the message. And on that note, even when you are serving, after service, you can always go on Facebook and watch the service in entirety via our Facebook Live video. That will include worship and the message. You can watch the entire thing. You can also listen to the message later in the week via the podcast that goes up. That can be found on iTunes through the podcast app, or it can also be found via the church's website as well. As an FWC Kid volunteer, punctuality is very important. Imagine, if you will, a mom and dad get to church early with their 3 little children that they need to check into the nursery, but both of the nursery workers are running late. Mom needs to talk to the nursery worker about a specific diapering issue that may come up during the day, but she is so rushed because the nursery worker was late without proper notification, and so she feels rushed, she feels frustrated. She takes it out on the nursery worker, who doesn't appreciate that, rightfully so. But it all could have been avoided had we been on time. Now, life happens, flat tires happen, children will be the slowest as they can possibly be on a Sunday morning when you are trying to get to church, when it is your turn to serve in the nursery. But the truth of the matter is, we've got technology at our disposal. If you're on your way to church and some unforeseen circumstance happens, take out that phone, text Sherry, text me, put it on the group me, somehow let somebody know that you're running late, and we'll get your spot covered. Okay? Life does happen, and like I said, we're family, so we got to help each other out. But we have to communicate with each other as well. And the last expectation for being an FWC Kids volunteer is be proactive. Don't wait for something to become a problem. Be looking. Like, ooh, that child, he's not upset yet, but I can see that this situation is going to be frustrating to him. I'm going to move him to a different area. I'm going to help him get engaged with something else. So then you don't have a meltdown or have a temper tantrum. Be proactive. Here is a schedule for our typical day. In the nursery, there are going to be 2 volunteers scheduled. One will be scheduled at 10 o'clock. One will be scheduled at 10:15. On your paper schedule that you'll receive, the person who is to be at 10 o'clock will be in bold. Usually Sherry has everybody working in a pair, so you work with the same pair each time. You kind of get into a rhythm and you're able to work together better that way. So for example, if Sherry and I were a pair in the nursery, and in the month of January, Sherry came in at 10 o'clock, I came in at 10:15. Then in February, when our turn came around again, or at the beginning of March, whenever the schedule plays out, whoever did not come in early before, which was me, I would come in at 10 o'clock and Sherry would come in at 10:15. So it's not the same person every time. This helps those on our worship team who have children that need to be checked into the nursery. This also helps to ensure some of that running late. If both workers are supposed to be there at 10:15 and all parents are trying to drop their children off at 10:15, it just makes for a really hectic time. And for little children, that feels unsafe, that feels unwelcoming, and that feels like someplace that they don't want to be. So if you're there at 10 o'clock, you have time to grab a donut, grab your coffee, get the room situated, the lights are on, you are ready to go, you've got your name tag on, like you are good to go and set and ready to greet parents, answer questions, and you're not rushed. That's the point, to kind of stagger that time so that everybody has more time to get there and be focused. At 10:45, most children have been checked in. Some do check in after that 10:30 time, but usually by 10:45 everyone is there. We need to do a diaper check. If a diaper is changed, we just want to mark down that, hey, they had a BM for a bowel movement, or they were W, they were wet, and we changed them. Or if we checked them and they were fine, we obviously don't need to change the diaper, but we can just put a check mark that we did check them. After the diaper checks, and I do just want to throw this out there, little people kind of have their own schedule. This is kind of a flow to give you some high points of, okay, got to do a diaper check. We're going to try to do snacks and story tubs and free play, and we need to do another diaper check. But if the first diaper check doesn't happen until 10:50 for some reason, it doesn't, that's, the punctual time is not so much the importance as the flow of the events. So please don't get hung up on the specific time. This is just kind of a ballpark benchmark for things to kind of be looking for. At 11 o'clock, it would be great to try to offer some snacks. Most children are going to bring in their own snacks from home in their diaper bags. Make sure that you have asked the parent that day if they're able to have a snack. If they're taking a bottle, obviously they're not going to have goldfish crackers, but a child that does eat normal food, they might want a snack at that time, such as Cheerios or goldfish crackers. We have available some story tubs that will be out for the month. In those tubs, it's a sensory thing where kids can begin to explore the Bible in a hands-on way that's appropriate for their age. What this requires of you is you take the tub from the counter, put it down on the floor where the children are. You can read the story that's provided in the tub with them, talk about the picture, let them explore what's in the tub and talk about those things. As long as they're interested. If you can see they are uninterested, we are done with the tub, we can put it away. But it gives the kids the first opportunity to start making a positive connection between Jesus, His Word, and us. About 15 minutes before service ends, which is usually about 11:45, we want to do one more diaper check. There is nothing worse than a parent coming to pick up their kid and the child being dirty, and so the parent has to pick them up and then automatically go change them. We want to check that and make sure that the kid is good to go for when mom and dad get there, because we don't know where they're going afterwards. Now granted, if you check a child at 11:45, surely they will go in their pants right after you check them. So, because that's just the rule of how it goes. So be flexible on that type of thing. 12 p.m. should start checkout. Make sure that you take the parent tag from parents, match it up with the child tag, and then you will have the parent initial and put the time that they're picking the child up. Because you're in the nursery, you're going to see the parent tags a lot, and I want you to have just a little bit of information about church teams and how to check somebody in, so that if, when you're not serving, you see a family and they're struggling to check in, whether it be a new family or one of our regular families, you can be able to jump right in. So when you look at the computer, the screen is going to look like this. If you're going to try to check in a child that is a regular attender who comes to Family Worship Center on a regular basis, you're going to go and you're just going to put in that search bar, you're going to put their name. The name that you're looking for is eventually going to pop up. It's going to start popping up names that it's going to try to guess who you're spelling. We went with the Updegrove family of our youth pastor, Pastor Jeremy, and his wife Heidi. And their kids, Tate, Kiva, and Zizi. I started typing in Updegrove because we wanted to check in the whole family. So I typed in Updergrove, I picked one of the Updergrove children, it brings up the whole family. What I want to do is make sure that these little boxes that are blank right now, they need to have a check mark in, that they're being checked in. You want to see a check mark to show that they are being checked in. The check mark shows that they're ready to print, and they're checked in for that appropriate class. Once your page looks like this, you're going to hit the green print button, and it's going to print the tags for the children. Their names go on their clothes. For the nursery, we put them on the backs, just so the kids don't take them off and try to eat them or put them someplace. And then the parents need to hold on to the parent tag, and that's for them to keep. They will need that for checkout. So if you are in this situation where you help someone, make sure that you tell them, oh, you're going to need this to pick your kid up, so make sure you hold on to it. Let's say that it's one of our regular families. We'll just go with our Updergrove family here. And let's just say that they brought a little cousin to visit with them. Well, Jeremy and Heidi are obviously going to be picking up said cousin because they're the adults that brought them. So what we would do, I would type in Updergrove just like I was doing before. I brought up the whole family. Then I'm going to go, and you can see where the arrow is, to where it says add family member. And I'm going to choose that because I'm adding a family member. You can do this even if it's a friend. For example, if a school-age child brings a friend, they're going home with that person, they're being checked in with that person, so they can be added to that family. When you click the add new family member, you're going to come to a page that looks like this. You're going to fill in the appropriate information. You want to make sure that you have, the older children can help you, but you want to write in, are they a child, a student, an adult? Is their last name the same as the family who has brought them? Email is not so important at this point in time. If they have one, great. Birthday and allergy are always very important. Then you're going to go to add group. When you go to add group, you will see age categories to choose from. You'll see 0 to 2, which would be ages 0 to 2, 2 to 3. You're also going to see school age, which would be kindergarten and on up through 6th grade. And then you're going to see preschool, which is 3 to 5. You're going to ask the child or ask the adult that brought them what age category they fit in, and then just select it on the side when it comes to the add group. Let's say that it's a new family who's never been to Family Worship Center before, and they need to create an account so that they can check their child into the nursery. You're going to click the new family button, and you can see where that is located on our screen. This page is going to look familiar to you, only this time you need to add the last name, home phone, address. It does require a phone number. It says home phone. It truly does not matter if it's a home phone or a cell phone. And then it does require, where it says adult, it does require an email and a mobile phone number that can be the same as the home phone number if that is need be. If there is no home phone number or no email address that is available to be entered, you can always make up one, such as no email at noemail.com or 000000000 for the phone number, and it'll accept that as well. This is a picture of what the child tag should look like. So all of the children, when they come to the room, should have a tag on. This person is a fictional person. They do not attend our church, but you can see that if there is an allergy or a special health concern, it's going to be in bold, so make sure that you are looking for that. It also has a child code, so that, let's say Julia, you can see the parents, John and Julia. Let's say Julia drops off Jen in the nursery. Well, John comes to pick her up. It's their first time. We don't know John, but John does have the parent tag and it matches the child code. That's totally fine to let John then take Jen to sign her out, to initial and put the time, and to go with Dad. If John did not have the parent tag, we do not know John. This is our first meeting with John, and Julia dropped Jen off. So we're going to tell John, since this is your first time, we haven't met, we have to have the parent tag, or we have to have the person that dropped Jen off come back to the window and explain that. John might become upset and frustrated by this, but I would say 9 out of 10 parents would rather you go the extra mile to keep their child safe versus just letting them walk out willy-nilly, because we just don't know. Sin makes us do awful, horrible, ugly things, and we want to make sure that we give our children to the appropriate people. If a child is being attempted to be dropped off in the nursery and they do not have a name tag on, make sure that you tell Mom and Dad they need to go and get the name tag before the child can be dropped in to the nursery. If a nursery worker needs to step out to help them, although there should be other people out at the computer, if for some reason there's not, now you know how to do it and you'll be confident and be able to show them what they need to do. I know it can be frustrating if you know a family, and we still require all families to sign their children out with the name tag. There is one exception. We have a family, the Nutelski family, to assist Mom. The parent tag will be placed on the clipboard ready for checkout if someone else comes to the window that is not Mom and they say, I'm here to pick up one of the Nutelski boys. I am on the list. You may check the notebook that is sitting on the counter for who is approved to pick up the children. As long as their name is on the list, they're free to sign out and ready to go. This is the only exception. Everybody else needs to sign out with the appropriate parent tags. There are some extenuating circumstances as to the change, but just so that we're all aware of that. I do want to point out that we will do some more training at a later time about children with special needs. I firmly believe that each child is different and may require different care or adaptations. Each room in the FWC Kids area has a binder with information on each child, so that we have a game plan of what is going on with the special care of our children. If for any reason there's ever a situation where a child needs some extreme adaptations, there will be a plan written up, discussed with the parent, and then communicated to the rest of the team that involves. This is not a legal document. This is just more a document to say, hey, this is how we're going to support this particular family member, and we're going to help them. So, we want to make sure that church is a place where everybody can come and be involved and experience the Lord's presence right where they're at, no matter what the situation. Thanks for hanging with me. We are almost done. In the case that there is a medical incident in the nursery, there might be biting, there might be somebody threw a car and it just happened to hit another child and it left a bruise. We want to make sure that that is documented, and we also want to make sure that that is brought to either Sherry's attention, who can bring it to my attention, or bring it directly to me, because that will need to be communicated with the parent, and we want to make sure that we do appropriate follow-up. An incident that should be reported would be if there's blood, if there's a bite mark, if there's a bruise, scrape, scratch, or other skin abrasion that was caused during the time together. If medical attention was given, such as ice or a Band-Aid. I will be honest that there are times, primarily with the older children, where they will stub a toe or do something, and the ice and the Band-Aid is not necessarily for medical reasons, rather just encourages their heart and helps them to feel better. But it's not an actual, for medical purposes, that we let them have the Band-Aid or let them have a little bag of ice. So as long as the ice or Band-Aid is given because of medical reasons, and obviously if there is vomit, diarrhea, blood in the stool, extreme fussiness, you are always welcome to call the parent. If you noticed on the parent tag, the phone number for the parent will be printed on the tag. It should also be in the binder if they're an attender of regular FWC on a regular basis. If they're a first-time guest, that phone number will be on the child's name tag, and that's another reason why that name tag is very helpful. It is hard to get a form for everybody on their first meeting, so gathering that quick information, allergies, phone number, emergency contact, and having it on their back so it's quick for you to grab in case of emergency is very helpful. Look at that, we made it to the end. I thank you so much for your patience and for your attentiveness. Your next step is to get me those top 10 learnings, those top 10 things that you want to remember as you go forward into serving in the nursery area. That'll let me know that you're ready for the next step, you're ready to shadow somebody. And I just want to say once more that I am really excited that you have joined the team. Welcome to the team, and let's get going.